folks, welcome and all that. The debate yesterday, or whatever it was, about the conversion therapy bill, which you and I know is a dangerous Trojan horse for making transing the gay away a thing, so that, you know, we're effectively behaving like Iran. Thankfully was defeated, as I'm sure most of you by now are already fully aware. So I was there yesterday afternoon doing a little happy dance, as one does, wobbling around the kitchen whilst making my pani puri. I thought, oh yeah, we got you. We got you. It's dead. It's a dead duck. It's lying there with its throat cut. But what I didn't expect was to see what the debate had in it. I've seen some extraordinary things in my life, and I've seen some stuff in my life that has shocked me. But this made me feel sick. It actually made me feel physically sick. In which an MP, Neil Hanvey, who is a fine representative of gay rights, a fine representative, as you'll see, Neil Hanvey, is berated. Well, you just watch it and see. All right, let's start. Here's what Neil said to provoke the response that we shall later look at.
The Honourable Lady has made a really important point about LGBT people coming to this place and feeling safe to argue their position on this important matter. I have experienced the most horrendous bullying in this place because I take a contrary view, or a more guarded view, than some in the LGBT community. In fact, people in the LGBT community are often referred to as bigots and transphobes and other slurs, just because we have concerns about legislation such as this, and we want to make sure that young LGBT people are protected, and trans people. Does she agree with me that that rule must apply to all sides of any debate and not just one side that she favours?
As you can see, Neil has drawn a clear distinction there between the LGB and the T, which is something that we all now need to do, seeing as the TQ plus is immaterial to me. Don't care what they do. They can go away and leave everybody alone. That's what they need to do. So Neil has said, does the Honourable Lady agree? It should apply to everybody. And the response from the Honourable Lady is something to see. Neil keeps his calm in a way that I don't imagine I'd ever be able to. But watch the response, and we'll take it a little bit at a time.
You're right, but there was one digit messaging from his LGBT. We do not divide the LGBT community in this place. You can say that you have concerns about what we're doing, but by removing the T, you are suggesting that transgender people do not exist. You are suggesting they are lesser than other LGBT people.
Right, so let's get this absolutely straight. What we've got here is this cringeworthy woman who's a Conservative Party member who's been going around untagging herself in the post she doesn't like, lecturing a gay man, an elder of the gay community, on how they must include LARPing men with fetishes and paraphilias and cross-dressing gusset regarders in their community, right? Because otherwise they don't exist. You're right, woman. You're right, okay? They don't exist separate from us. That's the only way they exist, is if they are attached to us. And you, madam, are a handmaiden that helps AGP paraphiliacs, LARPing women pretending to be gay man, and cross-dressing fetishists turning up in the workplace because of people like you. It's that simple. It's that simple. It really isn't complicated. It's you that's causing this, not anybody else. You and people like you. Gay people don't want anything to do with it. It's LGB. The T has nothing to do with the LGB. Let's see what else she has to say.
From his LGBT. We do not divide the LGBT community in this place. You can say that you have concerns about what we're doing, but by removing the T, you are suggesting that transgender people do not exist. You are suggesting they are lesser than other LGBT people. And I will not stand for that, because it was trans people who stood with gay people at Stonewall. It was
Well, she obviously likes her myths, doesn't she? Because there were no trans people at Stonewall. And Stonewall's got nothing to do with the UK anyway. This is a woman who is completely ill-informed. Completely ill-informed about the history of the gay movement in Britain. And in being ill-informed, what she's allowing herself to do is to lambast an elder of the gay community on his own history, and to state that by doing so, he takes the T off and makes the T lesser. The T isn't anything, woman. The hell is wrong with you? It isn't anything, it's just nonsense. It's absolute arrant nonsense, and it doesn't belong on the LGB, once again, for those of the hard of thinking. Who the hell does she think she is? It is utterly disgusting, and she owes Neil Hanvey and the gay community an apology. Gay constituency. It's not a community. I keep saying that. Gay constituency. She owes us an apology. I want an apology, because what you have just done is displayed the most extraordinary homophobia. The most extraordinary homophobia, the most extraordinary forced teaming, and the rewriting of history to please your somewhat bizarre and completely, black, we don't know why you're doing it, need to support fetishists, perverts, confused women, and anyone else who wants to LARP as part of the gender identity TQ plus homophobic crowd. Who the hell do you think you are? What comes next?
Because it was trans people who stood with gay people at Stonewall. It was trans people who fought alongside for LGBT rights. So when you say LGBT, you suggest, when you remove the T, you suggest that they are lesser. And I will happily discuss with you the intricacies of legislation. But when you choose to eradicate them, that is wrong. It is wrong. No, I'm not going to give way on this point, because I will not hear more erasure of the transgender community. We can discuss the points of intricacies. That I will not stand for.
She then rattles on about the transgender community. There's no such thing. I hope you get to see this, because you really need to understand where you're wrong. Trans is a collective term like vegetable. Who are you talking about? The carrots or the mange tout? Trans is not a thing, okay? There are people who suffer from some mental condition that makes them unwell. That doesn't mean they're trans, because gender dysphoria is a symptom, not a cause. In fact, gender dysphoria doesn't exist. It's body dysmorphia, right? It's a symptom or a cause. Or do you mean the young girls that through social contagion are taking dangerous drugs and binding their breasts and having those breasts ripped out by surgeons who belong in prison, not an operating room? Is that who you mean, madam? Apologise! You utter horror of a human being.